So I am a huge fan of the How to Train Your Dragon franchise. The first one is my favorite animated film ever made, and the second one is not too far behind that. Just something about Toothless and Hiccup's relationship just really resonated with me, and it was so easy to get emotionally invested in. So How to Train Your Dragon The Hidden World starts off with Hiccup as the chief of Berk and Toothless as the alpha of the dragon. So Toothless and Hiccup are both leaders of their own community of Vikings and dragons, and this villain named Grimmel decides that he wants to destroy everything they built and kill all their dragons. So the only thing Hiccup can do is go and venture out and to try to find the secret land of dragons, the hidden world, in order to save what they love. And just hearing that plot alone, I was already excited for this movie. But then I saw the trailer and I got a little skeptical when I saw the addition of the Light Fury. So the reason why this had me worried is because this is the last one, and I didn't want them to go for the cliche kind of cute ending, and that's what I thought they were going to go for here. I have never been more wrong in my entire life. This movie is absolutely incredible. The addition of the Light Fury actually didn't take away anything from the movie at all. It actually quite enhanced it. The Light Fury forces Toothless to make hard decisions that we don't really get to see him make in the first two films, and it's essential for his character development in this film. And heck, we even get to see a scene with Toothless and the Light Fury by themselves at nighttime in the clouds, and it's such a beautiful scene. It's visually stunning, probably the most visually stunning scene out of all the films. And that leads me to another thing I want to talk about, is the visuals in this movie are absolutely insane. There was a point where I was watching a character throw up a lump of sand on the ground, and the sand looked real. It's absolutely insane how real this stuff looks. And the visuals aren't the only thing. The score by John Powell here is just as good as the first two movies, if not better in this film. The score really packs a punch, and it just throws all this emotion on you, as if you didn't need any more emotion in this movie. And another thing that really surprised me in this movie is the villain Grimmel. Grimmel is a character who has a lot more personal motivation towards Hiccup and Toothless than a lot of the other villains did. And by the first 30 minutes, you can already see that he's a way better villain than Drago Bloodfist and the dragon from the first movie, which he didn't have much competition, but he really is a fitting villain for this conclusion. He's always one step ahead of everybody else, and that makes him such a great villain in this movie. Now, there was no flaws in the movie that really bothered me, but if I were to nitpick, I would say that some of the characters, some of the side characters, take a little bit of a backseat. Now, this didn't bother me as much because it gave more time to Toothless and Hiccup, which are characters that I love the most. But some of the characters do kind of take a backseat, so be aware of that when you're watching the film. Although one side character did have more character development, and that character is Astrid. She had a lot of character development because Hiccup is having to rely on her now a little more than he used to, because she is now the girlfriend of a chief. He has to have a shoulder to rely on other than Toothless. Now, the side characters taking a backseat also means that some of the humor that goes along with the side characters does take a backseat, and more of the humor now relies on Hiccup and Toothless. More Toothless than anybody, which is okay with me because honestly, Toothless is like the funniest person in the whole franchise anyway. They even managed to throw in some inside jokes that you would only get if you saw the first film, which I thought was a nice little touch by the writers. But the main thing I want to touch on in this film is the main theme of the story, which is about Toothless and Hiccup having to rely on each other. You see, Toothless and Hiccup have always brought out the best in each other, and if it weren't for Hiccup, Toothless would still be a dragon, still hiding from existence and never reaching his full potential as an alpha. And without Toothless, Hiccup would have never became the chief of Berk, and he would still be that boy that no one listened to and no one respected. But because of each other, they brought out their full potential in each other. And the past two films have been about building on that and relying on each other, trusting one another, even through the hard times. But in this film, they have to learn how to fight their own battles and become their full potential without having to rely on one another. And that's the message that they have to learn in this film, is to not depend so much on each other, but grow as an individual. And throughout this whole franchise, you notice that Toothless and Hiccup's relationship is full of trust, love, acceptance, suffering, pain, loss, all that stuff. But one thing you can wrap it all up with is that Toothless and Hiccup's relationship is a bond that will never be broken. And guys, if you're emotionally invested in this franchise at all, like I am, then you're going to cry. I don't care how tough you are, there will be tears. But hey, look, it's the conclusion, it's the finale, that's what you're supposed to do. And this just ended the franchise so right, and it was so emotionally gripping that I have to give How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World a 10 out of 10. So yeah, in terms of how I would rate this movie among all the other films, I would say that I would have this one at the top, the first one at the second, and the second one at the bottom. Now that's just my opinion. They're all really close, but the third one just had me so emotionally invested than the first and second that I just had to put it at the first one. But I do want to know what you guys think. Are you excited to see How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World? Or if you have seen it, did you like it? Did you put it at number 1 or number 2 or number 3? I want to know. Let me know down below in the comments. And as always, if you like this content and you want to see more content like this, you can click right here after I disappear.